Abe. Today is Wednesday, the 25th of January 2017, and I am finally bringing to you my top 10 books of 2016. I actually almost didn't do this week because we have a new president. I'm struggling with the idea of this video being meaningless and unhelpful and unproductive, but actually, fiction is one of the best and most important tools for creating empathy, for feeling less alone in the world. Those are things that, we need right now. Here are 10 books slash series that I read last year, not necessarily that came out last year. I'm keeping series together because otherwise almost all of the list would just be The Raven Cycle and The Lunar Chronicles. Without any further ado, let's begin. Number 10, The Chaos Walking Trilogy by Patrick Ness. This is a dark and gripping science fiction trilogy. It's got deep moral questions, amazing characters, crazy good world building. It's definitely one of these, morally gray, upsetting kind of books. The writing is excellent. The reason, though, that it's down this far at number 10 is that the first book is so much better than the other two books that it sort of fails to live up to its own hype. Books 2 and 3 are both excellent. Everything on here, 100% endorsed. Number 9, Afterworld by Scott Westerfeld. This book is kind of fluff. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's wish fulfillment fantasy, but I have never seen wish fulfillment fantasy that was so directed at me. It's about a girl who gets a book deal right out of high school and moves to New York City to become a writer. If you're a young person and you want to learn more about the editing process, this is a super good book to do that with because it shows you the stuff she goes through. And every other chapter is her story, but also every other chapter is the book that she's written. And so you get to see the changes that are discussed be implemented. And so as a book about the writing craft, it's great. The book that she writes is a solid paranormal romance. It's fun. It's cute. As for our protagonist's own narrative, the consequences to the things that she screws up are never quite as bad as they really would have been in real life. But at the same time, it's not a book that you're reading because it's deeply realistic. You're reading it because it's a person fulfilling your lifelong dream. Also, she gets a girlfriend. It's so cute, it's so cute. Also, she's a girl of color. She's Indian from India. Number 8, Malone Dies by Samuel Beckett. So I took a class on Samuel Beckett this past semester. It's one of the most interesting classes I've ever taken. Samuel Beckett is a weird dude. His stories are weird. And this one was my favorite. It's about an old man lying in bed making up stories. And the reason that I connected with it more than with any of his other books is because as Malone is dying, he creates stories exactly the way that I do, literally every night, right up there before I go to sleep. Makes shit up, changes the names of the characters halfway through. And even though, like most of Beckett's stuff, it's weird and esoteric and kind of gross, he connected with me. Number 7, The Call by Peter O'Gillen. The Call, I made a video about. It's a fantasy novel set in the future where Ireland has been blocked off from the rest of the world, and these fairies kidnap children one by one within their teenage years, and if they can survive a full day in fairyland, which is fucking horrifying, then they get to live to adulthood. Most of the characters die. A queer character does die, but also almost everyone dies, so I'm not too mad at it. It's gripping and horrifying and amazing, and I love the hell out of it. Number 6, This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. I read a lot of V.E. Schwab this year. This Savage Song is set in a future. It's another one of these books that it's set in the future, but it's also fantasy. It's about a world in which acts of violence create physical, actual monsters. And it's the story of a human girl who has made the decision to become monstrous, and a monster boy who is trying to be more human. And if that scenario sounds romantic to you, guess what? It's not. There is no romance in this book, which is so refreshing. And they're great. And they care deeply about each other. It will fuck you up. This book will fuck you up. That looks like it's all we have time for today, Abe. But next week, you will get the top 5. I will see you on Saturday.